You are listening to the Foamy Heads Podcast, where we discuss craft beer and anything else that accompanies a glass.
Foamy Heads are back, hanging out on the microphone today. We're in downtown Nashville, Mitch and Rich hanging out at Fait La Force Brewing. We got a few special guests across from us today. It's going to be a good day. It looks like some of us have already been drinking, Mitch. I don't know.
I'm trying to get there.
Yeah, that's all right. We've got some guys sitting across from us today. This is a good time. We're actually here in Nashville to support the new anti-stout that just came, Anti-Imperial Stout, the Resist. We're going to get into that in a little bit, but we've got some people standing across from us today. I want you guys to introduce yourselves because this is about the beer that you guys helped put together, and we're out here to support this. So I guess we'll start on this side of the table. Clayton, start with you from Tennfold, and we'll just kind of work the way down the list. We've got Tennfold and Fait La Force in the house tonight.
Awesome. Hello, I'm Clayton. I'm the assistant brewer, cellarman, and sales manager at Tennfold, and I did most of the physical brewing of this beer.
Hey, I'm Chad. I run the brewery at Tennfold, and I put this whole thing together.
Chad is not the first time guest on this show. We talked with Chad a while back. We stood in the back of your brew house. In the
if you guys
area.
ever want to waste 2 hours, you can listen to my interview with these guys.
I thoroughly enjoyed my 2 hours of wasting. So,
and I'm Parker Loudermilk. I'm one of the co-owners and founders here at Fait La Force Brewing Company. This is awesome.
So I got a quick question for you, Parker.
All right.
I keep meaning to ask you this, and I keep forgetting to do it. When are you guys going to make the Loudermilk Stout?
So this has been a very we here at Fait La Force do a lot of Belgian and like classic European styles. Stout is like not in our like major repertoire, especially the milk stout. But as soon as we said like we're coming up with the brewery, everyone I met is like, oh, Parker Loudermilk, you're gonna do the Loudermilk Stout, right? And I was like, I don't know how this is so obvious to everyone else, and it completely missed us entirely, but I don't know.
Yeah, I really agree. I really agree that stouts totally aren't European. Not at all.
No, my last name is Loudermilk, and so the Loudermilk Stout has been like I don't know. It's like all the guys over here at the Vinyl Lab, like next door to us, they're like, "Oh man, you're gonna do like the Loudermilk Stout," and I was like, "I don't know. We haven't brewed a stout, but if we do, maybe we'll do that."
Well, you've helped brew a stout now.
We've watched you and Clayton, basically brew a stout while we hung around and drank some beers, but we'll count it,
That's what a collab is, baby.
So this one's actually called the Resist. It's an Anti-Imperial Stout, 6.1%. Okay. Good on the cocoa. It's got some dark chocolate. I just took my first sip. I actually haven't had it up until this point. I was saving it until we actually hit record before I took my first sip. But this is fucking solid. Like, yeah, I'm a big fan of it.
It's got that good stout roasty character. That like kind of dark coffee, fresh brewed dark coffee and dark chocolate character on it. The coffee kind of comes across more in the nose, but some of the grains we used definitely have more of that chocolatey, that like 70% cacao kind of character to them. But also, what I really dig is there's some like really nice subtle like dark stone fruit character to it as well. If anybody has ever talked to me about beer before, they know I use the phrase stone fruit a lot because I like it. Mm-hmm. And I use a lot of English yeast for that reason in particular.
And you guys released your version of it yesterday, or I should say, you released yours yesterday.
Yeah,
on Tuesday, and that was the release. And then Fait La Force released theirs today.
Correct. So us and East Nashville Beer Works is also part of this partnership.
Mm-hmm.
The guys at East Nashville Beer Works are tied up with some pretty heavy like meetings right now. So unfortunately they couldn't be down here. But yeah, we released it yesterday, but Fait La Force is not open on Tuesdays. So us and East Nashville Beer Works released it yesterday, and since Wednesday is the first day of the week, Fait La Force is open. I was like, why don't we just make this the unofficial release party? And we invited a bunch of people we know in the business down here. Let me just say the Jackalope crew came out hard tonight.
Yeah, super strong.
I mean, I think like 3/4 of the brewery is in here drinking beers right now.
That's
so
awesome. Yeah, I saw Bearded Brother sitting back there.
Oh yeah.
He was back there.
Bearded Brother
hanging
was
out.
there. Kramer, he was hanging.
Bootleg Biology's out here too.
Bootleg.
Everybody but Jeff Mello.
Crazy Gnome showed out. Crazy Gnome came through.
Yeah.
So it was a good turnout over here.
And good response to the beer today.
Everyone I've talked to has really dug it. I mean, it was one of those like kind of same thing. Like we don't do like pretty much all the beers that we do over here have like very low finishing gravities or like all very dry. So like a stout that's got a little bit more sweetness behind it is like not necessarily what we do a lot around here. But like for us, we were worried about it. The finishing gravity be a little higher, like be more sweet. But like you said, like it's got a lot of that dark chocolate character, a lot of roastiness, and I think everyone who's drank it is like there's something there. Like if you want a good stout that's got some body to it, people dig it. If you want something a little bit more roasty and bitter, people are on that. So I think it's an easy beer to throw a pint down of.
Yeah, I think it's also important that I think a lot of people, especially in Nashville, can get behind something that's like for a good cause as well. For people who don't know, this beer is being brewed worldwide. The recipe was put out by some brewers from Ukraine, who obviously, like about 5 to 10 million other people in Ukraine, have lost pretty much everything. And they put it out, and the thing was like, here's the recipe, here are the percentages of everything. Make it work for you ABV wise. Make it work for you like ingredient wise. If you need to tweak some things, whatever, no big deal. And as much money as you can donate from your proceeds, just donate that to the Red Cross. And I think especially in Nashville, I think we've all seen out here when bad things happen, like Nashvillians come together hard.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, think about floods, tornadoes, all the kind of things that that the city has been through in the past 10 years. I guess 12 years now since the flood, but yeah, it was 2010.
I mean, what was that?
Wow.
I hope that was a car.
Yeah.
I hope that was a car backfiring. We might hear some sirens in a little bit, guys. Just know that we're all safe right now.
It's East Nashville Beer Festival. Always
But yeah, I think people in Nashville are really excited about this because they know how to come together and help each other, and that's what this whole thing was about. Was I think we all agree, all three of us on this side of the table, I'm sure you guys agree too, that like we can't all do everything all the time to help people, but we should do everything we can in our power when we have the time and we have the ability to do it. And it was really nice how fast this all came together. I found out about the beer. Clayton and I sat down and started doing some tank Tetris to figure out how soon we could get we need to get this beer in as soon as possible. And then it's like, how do you go through 7 barrels of a stout in the springtime in Tennessee? And I was like, you know what? If we did this collab with a couple other breweries, we could all split it up. If we get some breweries in different parts of town, we can go through it faster and raise money faster. And it was not hard. It took me like 2 days to find 2 breweries that were like, we have the time and we can do it. And that was East Nashville Beer Works and Fait La Force here. So we were really lucky, but I think it does kind of reflect on the larger culture of what Nashville is about when it comes to helping other people.
Definitely. Well said, too. I keep looking at the sheet that I saw as a cheat sheet up front by the register, and it's beetroot is in it.
No. So there is a borscht version. There's a borscht variant that they put up there.
Oh.
We did not do the borscht variant because a lot of it was just like logistics. But the other part of it was like, I was like, I've never brewed with anything like this before, and I'm not about to have the experiment be this beer that if it turns out terrible, that all of a sudden like we're not. Like the purpose of this is to raise money, for the Red Cross to help people who need help. And so if it ended up being terrible, I would have felt even worse, So we decided to like forego that this round.
Yeah, that beetroot sounds temperamental here. The way they're talking about it, peel it, important. It's like, oh, okay. How much can I leave? But the and then the ABV, I didn't realize 10%. Is that reflective of this one?
No. So like they put on it, they were just like, make it work for you guys. And I think it would have been even harder to go through a stout in Tennessee in the beginning of springtime when you bump it up to 10%.
Right.
So we all talked. East Nashville Beer Works, Fait La Force, and us talked, and we all decided to like go for that like, mid to kind of high 5s to low 6 range, and we nailed it. We came in at 6.1.
And where does so I'm a little unfamiliar with like the back end scenes of how a collab works. Like, is this brewed separately at each one of you guys' breweries, or is it brewed at one place, or each of you take care of a certain point and it comes together? Like, because you guys are pouring it yesterday, Fait La Force is pouring it today. Did it get brewed at one tap room or one brewery and then put together, or how does that work?
Yeah, so generally the way collabs happen is like everyone's involved in the planning of it, and you kind of decide where you're going to brew it. And sometimes it's we'll provide this ingredient, we'll provide that ingredient. I had most of the stuff. East Nashville Beer Works threw us the flaked oats for it, and but then it comes down to it's more the collaboration is the planning of the recipe, like what numbers are we gonna hit, how are we gonna like what are we going for, what season are we going into. So that's really where like the heart of the collab comes in, and then you pick a brewery to brew it at. So we did the tank Tetris. We're getting into busy time, so a lot of tank spaces, like it's really hard to have for a lot of people right now, especially like East Nashville Beer Works being more of a production focused brewery. They have like their schedule is like really tight. Us here at Tennfold being a brew pub, we have and me just it's up to me like what we do when. So like I had a lot more elbow room to make that work. And then Fait La Force being the newest guys in town, and straight up killing it, honestly. For a brewery this young,
This
the
place
beers,
is so
the beers
dope.
are
Too kind,
the
too
beers
kind.
being this good for a brewery this young is just like I've been blown away every time I've come here. But for them, they're working on a lot of other things, such as just opening up and trying to get their core together. And so we decided to host. And then what happened? So we all get together on brew day. We brew it there. We brewed it at our place, and then we put it in our bright tank, carb it up. Then everyone brings their own kegs down, and we just fill all the kegs on the same day. And then Parker hung out, and then we just loaded up his truck while the kegs were getting filled. East Nashville Beer Works came a couple days later and picked all the stuff up. But really, the crux of the collab is that the hosts do all the work and the guests do all the drinking.
Yeah.
In my case, luckily I have Clayton, who I've trained up enough on the brew system that I got to do a moderate amount of drinking. Just in case anything went wrong, I couldn't do a whole lot.
I can definitely attest. I mean, it was like me and Zach, more or less, like were able just to show up, hang out. They fed us some food, gave us some beer. It was great. Zach dumped some hops in, I think, at one point,
Oh yeah.
There's a really nice picture of Zach dumping the hops in.
And I just watched Clayton run around just sweating, graining out.
I mean,
just going like a madman.
I sweat in January, so don't overthink that.
While Chad was like hosting, being the good host, making sure we were taken care of, and I'm like, man, this is our first ever collab. This is a good time. I can get behind this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
more collabs needed,
let's just
for
stop
sure.
brewing beer and just do collabs everywhere and serve it over here.
Just wait till you host them.
Yeah.
Because we're coming for you in like 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
In 6 months, your bill's due, baby.
Yeah, in 6 months, Clayton's doing a keg stand. That's happening.
Man, yeah, this beer it hits right. It's not too heavy. Where I could definitely do a pint of this easy. For
Yeah,
sure.
it's definitely like a classic oatmeal stout. I think it came across well. Obviously, we didn't come up with the recipe, but we just followed the guidelines.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Eastern Europe knows their dark beers. They know
For
their
sure.
stouts for
Yeah.
sure.
God, that'll be a fun journey if I ever get to go over there and do the whole, tour of.
I would wait a couple years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Not right now.
Yeah.
I don't think they're letting us in right now. I don't think it's the other way around. So how does that that answers a question I was going to ask then, directed to you guys at Fait La Force. So Chad, you guys did a bulk of the brewing at your facility. Fait La Force is kind of more focused on the Belgian-y style beers, at least historically, and you guys are one of the newer breweries in Nashville, but that's typically what you focus on. And then to bring in something like an Imperial Stout, something like this that's roasty, chocolatey, malty.
Anti-Imperial Stout.
Anti-Imperial
That's right.
Stout. I'm
Don't get it
ignorant to
twisted.
that. What is it? Why is it an anti-Imperial
Because
Stout?
the Imperial Stout is a Russian Imperial Stout, is where it comes from.
There it is. All the dots.
So this
connecting.
is a Ukrainian
The
anti-imperial
light bulb
stout.
just went on in my
Yeah,
head.
there
Oh,
it is.
okay. Anti-Imperial Stout. Which
Trust
is
me,
why
you're
I
not the
always
only
see it.
one. We had some people in today. They kept being like, "Anti-Imperial Stout. Does that mean like session stout?" I'm like, no. Like you're thinking about it. Like you're trying to get too technical with it. Do less.
And the
But
guy
honestly,
that
at-
runs
at
a beer
6%,
podcast doesn't know what that
yeah.
term means either.
But honestly,
so.
at 6%, it definitely is not an imperial
It's
stout.
right.
so-
Right.
So it all works.
That's true too. So how's it? So Fait La Force is getting a good turnout then today, even though typically Fait La Force is styled typically towards Belgian-y beers, but this is for a good cause, and it's a little bit break from the norm from you guys. So I imagine it's probably a welcome change for people showing up too, because they want the Belgian style. Fait La Force, I've been here, I know once, possibly twice. Every single time I've had every beer on the
Possibly
menu
twice.
and kill it. I don't remember the second time if I did.
The second time was a good time. Apparently.
But that's the whole
Yeah,
point is
yeah.
every time I go, I get every single one. And unfortunately, there's like 8 of them up there tonight. And I'm going to have to go through all of them tonight too. So
I will
But
say,
that's
I will
awesome.
say, I think Fait La Force has the best saison in Nashville.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
But the first
Dang,
time,
That's a
I came
tall
down
order,
here,
man.
No,
that's
no, no, no.
high
Like,
praise.
the first time I came down here, I was like, okay, they have saison. Saison's one of my favorite styles. I think it should be the perfect style for the South. It's sometimes it can be a hard sell.
Preach.
I think some people have had their first saison experience with something more funky. But theirs hits just right. It's that banana, it's that clove, and it's got that like that little yeasty afterbite that like makes a great saison a great saison. And I was like, fuck, how did they get this?
That is super high price. I mean, I know Zach. Zach is the co-owner at the brewer, one who's actually creating all this stuff back here. That I'm fortunate and to be the face for. And he's just crushing it. But I know the saison was the style that we really wanted to focus on. Like we wanted to be like, there's a lot of breweries in town that are known, like, you know, you got Bearded Iris who's known for their like IPAs and you got like Smith and Lance who's known for their lagers. It's like there's a lot of breweries in town that are known for a style. Saison was a style that we were like, all right, this is kind of where we want to plant our flag. So I know, and it's a style that we both love and agree with Chad that like it's the perfect beer for our climate. Like saisons drink like magnificently around this time of year, especially. It's like more people should be drinking it. It is traditionally a really hard style to sell. People don't buy a lot of it. You hear it consistently. Like, yeah, you can put a saison or a farmhouse beer on. People don't buy it. So we were like, all right, we're just going to commit to this being our thing. Like we're always going to have a saison or a couple of saisons on, and we're just going to ride with it and hopefully just like, you know, proselytize people into the saison gospel. And like slowly, like it's been a little bit easier. I don't know if it's like the climate, like the market is just more ready for it, or, I mean, we still like saison is still a tough sell for us, but people have been surprisingly receptive of like Belgian styles, and it's really easy when someone comes in and be like, oh, I really like this Belgian Golden, to then say, okay, well, if you like that, next you should try this saison. It's going to be a little drier, it may be a little bit more peppery, it may have like, it makes it a little different, but it's also very similar.
Oh, New Heights just walked into the house.
Oh,
no,
no.
it's coming through too.
Man,
My boy Willionaire is here.
the saison definitely drew me in the first time I was here, and every time I visited, which is, I don't know, could be 7 times now.
Maybe 8.
Maybe 8. But yeah, every time I've gotten that saison, so it's definitely it's a favorite for me already here in Tennessee.
Yeah. I always like the saison. It's like if I'm coming here and one of them beers is gonna always be that saison.
And now I'm sitting here drinking our new rye saison, which I like. I mean, me and Zach are pretty obsessed with like our Orchestral Fanfare, our kind of like house saison that we do. But the French Adventurous we just released as a rye saison, similar, but like everything is kind of dialed up a little bit more. And we just put it on draft, I guess, last week, and about every time we drink it, we're like, whoa! Like, I mean, we're both really in love with this beer, also.
I'm gonna have to get one of those.
Yeah, like my second beer, I was like, do I get this or do I get this? You know, hoppy pilsner? And I was like, I'll start with the hoppy pilsner because it's less ABV, and then I'll go to that. But after you just said that, like, it's definitely the next beer.
But yeah,
Clayton, have you had that rye saison yet?
I've not. No. I had the New Zealand Pils when I got here, which is a style I thoroughly enjoy, and I just got the Euro Pale Ale just right in front of me.
Heck yeah.
I think that's the last keg left of that New Zealand Pilsner,
wow.
so hop on it while it getting good.
I shall. It's lovely.
Man, I think This is the first conference of the Saison Gospel, right here.
Yeah, I'm about it.
Where's Blackberry Farm at?
Yeah, right.
I mean, honestly, that was one of the most impressive things about that brewery was that they were just like came out the gate like our flagship's a Saison, and it worked.
Yeah.
Um,
But no, yeah, you were talking about bringing a stout like out to
Mhm.
this crowd and stuff like that. And I mean, for us doing this beer was, I mean, kind of a no-brainer. One, to like get to collab with like one of the other, you know, great breweries in town, the Tennfold.
Mhm.
I've been over there.
Aw, you.
And East Nashville Beer Works. But I mean, it was the night, the night, like, ironically, I was sitting at Tennfold. And I was there it was my birthday, so I was like, oh, I want to go out. My family's kind of out towards the Donaldson area, so like, oh, let's just meet at Tennfold, hang out over there, have some dinner, have some beers. Like Tennessee was playing in March Madness that night. Unfortunately, they lost, but still a good night. So we're hanging out there. Happened to get like a phone call or something saying like something was happening in the brewery. So I pulled up our Ring camera and I look, and there's Chad. Like first person I see when I pull up the camera is Chad sitting at our brewery. And I was like, that's funny. So I texted him. I was like, oh, man, that's funny. I see you're sitting over there. I'm, you know, sitting over here. And then it was like 5 minutes later. Like, hey, do y'all want to do this, you know, Ukraine, you know, beer collaboration?
I
And was like-
legitimately came down here to try to like strong arm them into doing this collab with us.
and
And I
was
ran
like,
into
of course.
Mitch
Yeah.
down here.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we came down here. We ran into New Heights. We ran
That's
into
what
each
it
other at
was.
New Heights
Yes, yes,
earlier,
yeah.
And you were like, I'm going to Fait La Force, and I was like, oh, I can strong arm them into a collab. I've had
mean-
just enough beers to be charming.
No, I mean, it made perfect sense. I mean, our whole, like, our namesake is basically translates strength and unity. So we're about, you know, bringing people together, supporting each other, like, obviously doing the beer, supporting the people of Ukraine, like, couldn't miss up on. And I actually, ironically, a couple weeks before, I have done some mission work previously in Ukraine and some of the orphanages there. And a guy named Joel Butts, who I know from, like, church growing up here, he runs an organization that does a lot of relief work in Ukraine, and we've been talking to him about like what could doing something to benefit Ukraine look like. We're trying to plan around, and we were like not sure how to make it work. And then Chad out the blue is like, "Hey, you want to do a beer for Ukraine?" And I was like, "Yeah, this sounds perfect."
Solution presents itself.
Yeah, right.
With its charm, fueled by
like I
the
said,
night.
it didn't take long to find two breweries to partner with in town. It was basically about who got back to me first. You know, at that point, there were a lot of people that were into it and into the idea and supportive. But then there was a point where I was like, well, I've got the two that, you know, I've got a 7-barrel brewery. Like, you know, y'all can do your own version, you know, or we can get on a collab later, you know, whatever. But
you got the homies, so you
yeah. And but you know, like I said, it doesn't. When it comes to a good cause, or it comes to like any kind of fundraising beer, or even just doing collabs, like I think the natural brewing industry is like right
Super
on
strong.
that. Yeah, for sure.
And that's what I like about, you know, it's oftentimes we feel as consumers. So, you know, Mitch and myself sitting on this side of the table, you know, talking with you guys that are day in and day out brewing and things like that. Like people like us, oftentimes, at least the consumer, feel helpless because we're not really sure what we can do, right? And then you guys come saying, hey, how would you like to drink beer for a cause? And we're like, fuck yeah, I'm in. You know, that'll work. And oh, by the way, whenever we buy a pint or whatever, some of that's going to go somewhere. It's the little things, but it allows us to be able to do something on top of just sit there going, well, there's not much we can do. It's even if we're just drinking a beer and not thinking it's much, at least we're able to put a couple of our bucks towards it, at least that you guys can pass on later.
Well,
down
and
the
that's
line.
honestly why when I found out that Drinkers for Ukraine had this thing going on,
What was that called?
Drinkers for Ukraine.
Drinkers for Ukraine.
Drinkersforukraine.com is the site where the recipe was posted. They have they actually have a bunch of other ideas and ways that you can set up. Like they have you can do you can do an auction like this or whatever. Like they have a bunch of fundraiser ideas, and this beer was just one of them. But when I saw that, you know, that was the first thing. Like that's what resonated with me. Exactly what you just said. I think especially over the last couple years, you look and you see, and it seems like every time you open the newspaper or whatever, it seems like something else is happening where the world might end or some other atrocities happening somewhere. And I think with the way everyone's day-to-day lives are, you know, we're all so busy. We have so many responsibilities, but you want to help, and it's you like exactly what you said. Like you feel helpless a lot of times.
Right.
And honestly, I did feel helpless until I saw this, and it was like I was like, this is what we can do. Like what can we do about this? Is what we can do. Like in our industry, for us, like this is how we can help, and this is how we can bring in the community to help as well. You don't have to do it's easy. You don't have it was. I mean, it wasn't that hard for us. I mean, it was a little harder for Clayton, but
for sure.
But really, I mean, if all you have to do is go drink a beer and you can help support a cause that is helping people, I mean, that's why not? Exactly, why not? But it's also like you feel a little less helpless. You don't have to do something super great or grand. You just have to help.
Right. And then on you guys' side, I mean, it literally just says not being prescriptive when it comes to the packaging labels. All we ask is that brewers use the name, the national colors for Ukraine. For the rest, use your own creativity. And you touched on that a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Just make it for them and then use your creativity.
We had based on stuff I had on hand. Being a 7-barrel brew pub, we don't have a whole lot of storage space for grain, and it was kind of filled up. But I had enough that I could work with where it's like, okay, it's not exactly this, but if I take a little bit of this and a little bit of that, it's going to emulate the exact character of these grains. Mm-hmm. So we just rolled with it that way. And honestly, it helped me get rid of some stuff I had sitting, like certain grains I had sitting around for a while. I was like, oh, that's like, it was like so serendipitous. It was like, this is the perfect thing I could use in this to blend with this other grain to get this character that I know they're trying to get out of this particular grain.
Chad did this last time. He used big words on our podcast, like serendipitous.
Oh, I thought we were just talking about grain. I was like,
I mean, I'll give it to Chad. Big ups on this. Where like I walked in one morning and he's like, I have this idea. I want to do it with some other breweries, and we're gonna figure this out, and like not.
And you're gonna brew it.
And hey, it's drinkable in it, so clearly I did my job well. But like it wasn't even 10 days later we were actually physically brewing it. Like wow. that is Chad's ability to connect the people, and to figure this out very quickly, and before we knew it, the tank was clean, and the beer is brewed and it was fermenting away. So big shout out to you for that one, mate. Like that was impressive.
Yeah, I mean, but it wasn't just me. It was these guys in East Nashville Brew Works just jumping on and being like, yeah, let's do this. And I was like, yeah, we can figure out the tank space. And like Clayton and I sat, like, the brew pub's closed on Mondays, and Clayton and I are in there because we can like spread out, like do paperwork, like get caught up on things. Just like it really
when
is
it's closed, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's just there's just more space. There's more elbow room. Less distractions. You don't have to. Not that I mind answering people's questions, but you don't have those distractions and stuff like that. And we sat down on a Monday, and I was like, okay, like. So one of Clayton's bigger focuses is the cellar side of things. So that's kegging, transferring beer, carving up beer, making sure the beer did not get infected. Like it's really like everything that's done on the hot side would not matter without a really good cellarman. And I have a really good cellarman that. So we sat down and we were just like, I was like, all right, how many kegs do we have? What do we need to move to keep up on year rounds? What else do we need to move to keep up on seasonal stuff? How many kegs do we need to wash? Like, what do we need to go through? What do I need to be looking for? What do I need to be pushing? What do I need to have servers and bartenders push? It's a really delicate ballet of moving beer from different vessels to make sure you have the right vessels to do the next beer or the next step. And so it didn't take us that long, because Clayton, again, is really on top of that shit. It didn't take us very long, but it did take a lot of math and like actually like taking paper and like, okay, we've got this many kegs, this beer, we've got this much barrelage left. Like, we'll move this here. We've got to do these beers. And then at the end, we've got this tank open on this day.
Yeah, I mean, these guys absolutely crush. There's so much work that goes on behind it. Like, you do not even realize. Even where, like, when I was there, I drove over to bring my kegs over, drop my kegs off. Like, Chad's in the back, brewing, going crazy or something. Clayton came in. He was like, had just done deliveries. He was like doing some cellar work.
Oh my god!
So now he was like in there trying to like keg off the beer into like, you know, our kegs, and then Chad comes running through. He's like, "Hey, we're in the whirlpool. Like, go make sure you keep an eye on that." So they're running back and forth, and I was sitting there at the bar with my computer. Like, I had some paperwork questions. Basically, I was in there, like, "Hey, while y'all running around, y'all mind helping with this paperwork too?" So like, they're teaching me things while sprinting around, and then like, "All right, here's your kegs. Like, get them in your truck." Like, they help me load them up in the truck, and then I just drive off with beer. Like, and they did. I mean, they crushed it on the beer for sure. Like,
Yeah,
I get the
amazing.
recipe came from something, but like, don't let him be too modest, like, and undersell it. Like, they did a lot of work to dial this beer in.
Well, Clayton and I also both come from our backgrounds in brewing before Tennfold were production-based breweries.
Yes.
And so in production-based breweries, you're paid hourly. They cut you at 40 hours a week, but you have a certain amount of things you got to get done. And you really find, you really find the best way to work efficient. Like you double stack, triple stack the things you're doing. It's like, okay, well, I have this pump going, pumping these chemicals through this thing. So I've got 30 minutes to start this other thing. And then like halfway through doing this thing, I'll just have to like let that sit. Like halfway through this kegging, I'll just let the keg sit. Cause like, like the equipment we have to fill kegs, like they'll stop filling when they're full. So it's like,
great. I'm not,
yeah.
That's new for this job. I'm really
but it's like okay, my
such
30-minute
technology.
timer's off, so now I got to go rinse this tank and then get the next round of chemicals going or whatever. So when you get that next round of chemicals going, you go back to whatever you're doing. Like, so we both have that experience, and I'm big on working efficiently because it's just like for me it's about getting the work done and getting it done correctly.
Right.
It's not about like, I don't care. Like I would rather him, I would rather him and me like get all the work done in less hours and have more time to like be open for questions for our front of house people, do all the paperwork stuff that we actually have to do. That was a big new thing for me starting this brewery, because I was just shift brewer or whatever. Like neither of us had to do any. Like I don't think you had to do any paperwork at any of your other breweries,
not
right?
really. Like I had to be in a Zoom call today for like 90 minutes. That's
Yeah.
new for me.
Because they were just
like,
like
I
they
got
were
the-
just like
I
they were
got
like
the food and bev
just
to
do it.
avoid stuff like this.
Yeah.
So,
but they were just
here we
they're
are.
like it's between the two of us, it's like everything in the brewery needs to get taken care of, and that includes like all the record keeping. Luckily I'm really good at spreadsheets, even though I
You're
hate
so
them.
good at spreadsheets.
I hate spreadsheets, but I'm really good at I hate spreadsheets.
Yeah. We get some of those.
Dude, my inventory spreadsheet is dope.
Yeah,
It's
it's
so
good.
like my fiance lives in Excel, and like she's looked at his spreadsheets and been like, damn. Like,
Nice.
It's great.
It's kind of like you guys visiting Fait La Force. I don't even remember how I put them together.
I mean, it's magic, really.
But yeah, so there's all those other things that it frees us up to do. The more efficiently we do the actual production work, and of course, like we never sacrifice quality, but the more efficiently we do the production work. And for me, when I was hiring a cellarman, like not only is Clayton really charming and British, it's all about that accent, bro. But yeah, the more he
coming
drinks,
out more.
the more he drinks, and the more he gets my forklift stuck in the grass.
It's a
I mean, his
mixture
first-
of
his
anger
first
and
text to me
drunkenness that
was-
makes me very extra British.
His first text to me was "ahoy," and I was like, "Okay, this is different."
You're like, is this a pirate?
Ahoy,
Yeah.
matey.
It's memorable, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I mean, it is clearly memorable.
So
Ahoy, matey! What up with the scurvy?
Yeah.
So how much of this was brewed in total between the three? So my question is, how much was brewed total, and then how much did each of the breweries get? So East
So-
Nashville Beer Works, Fait La Force, Tennfold. How much did you guys end up
I
with?
think the yield was about 7.5 barrels.
Okay.
But traditionally there is always loss when you do that.
Right.
So it was just over 7 barrels that we got total.
Mm.
So we did Fait La Force got 5 half barrels worth. So that's 2.5 barrels.
2.5 barrels.
East Nashville Beer Works got 2.25 barrels, and then we took whatever's left, which is like just over 2 barrels.
Just over 2 barrels.
So we have a healthy, even split between
Split.
everyone.
It all evens out to about 2 and a third.
Yeah.
How long does this? I mean, at the current rate, this is probably not something. Maybe your fancy spreadsheet would say this, but like, how long do you think it would take you guys to burn through this? Because I'm trying to figure out, like, do you guys do crowlers to go, or is it draft only in the tap room?
So the way
How does that work, and how long do you think it's going to take to burn through all that?
I hope we'll go through it pretty quickly. I hope we'll each be able to go through it in a couple months or so. Generally, the stout is like a hard sell.
Yeah.
Because people have this. and a hill I will
mentality.
die on. This is wrong. But generally, people are like, we can't drink dark beers in warm weather. Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
This one, of course you can. You can drink. The best beer is the one you're drinking right now.
Exactly.
But it's also it's not a beer that like it's got some oomph to it, but it doesn't drink heavy and it doesn't sit heavy. So I mean, dark beers, yes, are year-round beers, depending. Like a syrupy 10% stout, I could see, but not every dark beer is a syrupy 10%.
Don't tell the people of Florida that. I mean, they'll be drinking 15% stouts in the heat. July is summer in like swamps of Florida. I mean,
Florida-
they're on board with you.
Why are you throwing in Florida?
I'm
don't
just
count.
saying, like,
Florida's wild all the
about
time,
it,
man.
yeah.
Sure. As a graduate of the University of Florida, I can tell you they'll figure out a way to drink
Yeah,
all
that's
year,
right.
all year, whatever they can get their hands on.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure it's different from brewery to brewery, like what will sell and what won't sell. Like, I mean, obviously tonight being the release night, like almost everyone I saw came through here, like had a pint of it. So like doing good now, and then we'll see how it goes. Us being a newer brewery, like our foot traffic is still a little smaller, so getting people out here who's gonna come through and drink it, like it may last a little longer here. I would guess that maybe a Tennfold where like we were over there and the brew crowd there, or just a crowd there for lunch was
Insane.
like, wow. I was like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely have a lot more seats. We have our front of house has got a little bit bigger space, but usually with collabs and like a lot of small, like the small batch and collabs, and any collabs I consider small batch because we have less than a 7-barrel batch of it. I put that under the heading of taproom exclusive, which I have like some pretty strict rules about to go and all this other stuff. But for this beer, I'm allowed, like, I was like, all right, we're trying to get, like, the point is to raise money.
Sell it, yeah.
I was like, so if people want crowlers, people can get crowlers. It's like we do a 2 for $20 deal on crowlers, but I was like, we're not doing 2 for $20 deal on that. We're charging the same. We're charging $14 for a crowler because it's 32
Money's
ounces.
going for a good
The
cause
crowler,
too,
yeah, the
right?
crowler is 2 pints, so we're charging $14 for a crowler. There are no discounts. Like, I legitimately made my mom pay full price yesterday.
Yeah.
Like my parents were in the brewery, and it was a little bit of a hectic day, so I only had a little bit of time to go out to talk to him, and I went to talk to him, and I was like, are you guys drinking the Resist beer? They're like, yeah. I was like, cool, okay.
$14.
I was like, give me a second, real quick, and I went to. We have this new AGM who I mean she's been really great, but she hadn't met like everyone else there that's worked there for, if you've worked there for at least a month, you know my parents. But they so I went up to Kat and I was like, hey, I just want you to know, like, those are my folks over there. They get the friends and family on everything but the beers they're drinking. Because the point is, but that's also why they were there. That's why they were drinking those beers.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to, like we were talking about earlier, they wanted to be able to support and be able to do this thing because, how much can they do being, being older retired people,
They could do their part too, though. I mean,
yeah. So I mean, it wasn't a problem, but yeah, like that's what I tell it. Like when I'm going over, like when I'm doing lineup with servers and bartenders, I'm like, yeah, no discounts, blah, blah, blah. And I always say that. I'm like, I literally made my mom pay full price. So if she's paying full price, I'm paying full price.
Everybody's
Clayton's
paying
paying full
full
price.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's
Yeah.
paying full price.
Yeah.
We're all paying for it, but it's like it's all going to a good cause, and that's
Yeah.
what matters.
Because that's the point. The point is to help people. The point is to help people that are in a situation that I think a lot of, I hope none of us, none of us sitting here, and I hope none of the people listening, I hope it's a situation that none of us ever have to be in. But if like, can you imagine just losing everything because some asshole just comes in and starts blowing shit up? Like, come on, there's I'm not gonna get
Yeah.
Getting a little heated.
Yeah.
but again, I think a lot of people can get behind that because a lot of people can understand that they don't understand, like,
Right.
what all these people, these 10 million people displaced in the Ukraine are going through.
The only reason I got into this business, and the only reason I do much of anything, is to try to make the world a better place to make people happy. My degree is in healthcare, which I was, I planned to be a doctor, like I really did. And but I started waiting tables at a brewery, and I realized very quickly that I could much more efficiently make people happy being behind the tap and getting to facilitate, first dates and family reunions and people getting together or couples having dinner, and like I'm in it to make the world a better place, one pint at a time, and I can do it a lot quicker that way.
Hey, Mary just walked in.
Yeah, our good friend Mary just wandered in.
One of the most supportive people of craft beer in Nashville.
she rules. I love
she's very big into supporting all the tap rooms and stuff.
Yeah, she's definitely a regular.
She's very
here,
sweet.
and she is the best. Her and her greyhounds
Oh,
are
yes,
amazing.
greyhounds.
Yeah.
Her greyhounds are so cute.
Yeah, they're so good.
But
She'll be really happy to know she was mentioned on.
Yeah.
I feel like.
there's a free extra download for you guys just by telling her that.
Yo, we're in the days of streaming, baby.
Yeah, but yeah, we're that's why I do this is to make people happy, make the world a better place, and I I feel like, and I can do it by getting to use cool science stuff and also getting to like talk to people and build this wonderful community that is the local craft beer community. And many of the markets I've worked in, it's always been a wonderful, close, loving community that are happy to get together and do cool stuff together. And I'm really jazzed to be part of this one. Like I'm jazzed to be the part of the ones that I've done before this, and jazzed to be for part of the ones that we're gonna do after this. So that's why you do this. You don't just do it because it's like cool or whatever. You do it because it
Do good.
Doing some good.
Let's
like
be fair.
Superman.
Let's be fair. There are a lot of people that get into this industry because they think it's cool, and then they realize what working in a brewery is like, and they're like, "Fuck that."
Oh yeah, and we're still doing it, aren't we? Like 8 years in.
It takes a special kind of traumatized and fucked up mind to be able to put up with. No, I'm just teasing.
Yeah.
No, but it does take a bit. Like it's not easy, and a lot of things can go wrong, and they always go wrong at the worst times. And you really have to be able to be like, I'm really stressed out and angry right now, but I have to focus on fixing this, and then I can be stressed out and I'm just gonna listen to some really, really hard metal music and say a lot of curse words really loud, but not as loud as the music is, and then I'm gonna fix the problem. And,
I mean,
or whatever.
I don't know, Chad. We've been at this for almost 3 months now, and it seems pretty great. Like, it's pretty easy as far as I can tell. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
no
yeah.
problems
Yeah,
whatsoever.
yeah. I mean,
right?
we're pretty well seasoned here. 3 months.
I think
almost 3 months.
I
not
think
quite.
I think Zach might have a little.
Yeah, no. I mean, it is definitely. an
So
insane amount of
basically,
work.
the first and only time I ever met and talked to Zach was at the collab, because I had seen him around here before. Times I visit Fait La Force, but I saw what he was doing, like pulling grain out of the brewery, or he's back there brewing, and I was like, I see that look on his face. I know exactly where that dude is at. Because I was there opening Tennfold.
Oh man.
But it is a lot of hours, especially getting open, and it's long hours sometimes unexpectedly because something goes wrong or something breaks, and you can't just dump $1,000 of liquid down the drain just because one thing goes wrong. It's not like when you were and I've worked in offices and stuff before, but it's not like when you work in an office and it's like, oh well, the computer system's down, so we won't have it back up tomorrow, so everyone can go home. It's like, no, this pump is down and the beer can't get finished until this pump is back up, so we have to like do some convoluted ass shit to like make sure that this works, and we got to get it to work, or we have to find some kind of bypass, or whatever it is. Like a lot of things can go wrong when you have so many moving parts. And really the back of house at a brewery is very much like, it's like a manufacturing facility, a factory of sorts. It's the same kind of work, it's the same kind of equipment, it's the same kind of machinery. And so yeah, when people are like, oh, brewing would be really cool to get into, it's like, boy, do you want to do more work and make less money?
Gosh, man, that was a damn good beer.
Thank you so much.
Again,
Good job, Clayton.
Yes.
Yeah, Tenfold, East
Good
Nashville
job.
beer, Fait La Force.
Good job, recipe
Awesome.
developers. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
We're happy to be part of this.
Definitely, everyone come out, support. Whether you're going to East Nashville, whether you're going to Tenfold, whether you're coming here at Fait La Force, like
Absolutely.
come out, get the beer, support the cause.
And
Yeah,
again,
we covered 3 parts of town that y'all are in, so you don't have to.
Yeah, you
I,
gotta
I,
learn
I,
to
always tell
travel
I always
far.
tell people that Nashville is always 15 minutes from itself.
right? yes, totally is.
Yeah, you could,
So it'll be really easy to get out, and I mean it's a good beer. It's an easy drinking beer. Yeah, get a pint.
Yeah, it's an easy beer to drink.
do a
And it's an
part of
easy
pint.
cause
Make the
to
world-
support.
make
so
the world a better
like,
place.
and hopefully, because we're in 3 locations, it's an easy place to get to too. So like,
Yeah.
no reason not to.
Yeah.
And I think it's a good cause for people to just get behind. You know, it's again, as I mentioned earlier, just having guys like us that just want to drink beer and want to find a way to support the cause. You know, go out to Tennfold, go out to Fait La Force, go out to East Nashville Beer Works, buy a pint, buy 2 pints, you know, whatever it is, just spend that money so that we can make sure that money's getting passed on. And just looking at, we actually pulled up you guys' Instagram page. I'm on the Tennfold one though, but it actually says the beer is an Anti-Imperial Stout originally created by Ukraine brewers in solidarity in an effort to raise money. Each of these pints sold $2 will go to the Red Cross to help the Ukrainian people. So that's kind of, I know we talked about it a little bit about how it works in supporting the cause, but being able to put a monetary amount to it and saying, you know, you guys are spending $6, $7 or whatever to buy a pint, $8, whatever it is. A portion of
It's
that
$7.
is going directly to help, you
Yeah.
know, so it is what it is. So.
Yeah, and we did during the brew day we did some really quick math and a really conservative estimate of money raised based on a really liberal amount of waste at the taps,
Sure.
which we all hope that we don't have.
But I'm sure it happens.
But between the 3 brewers, we should be raising at a minimum at least $3,000, if not more,
great.
from this effort. Which, you know, in the grand scheme of rebuilding an entire country is small. But at the same time, we're not the only ones doing this. Like, this isn't we're not the only brewery in the U.S. doing this. We're not the only brewery worldwide doing this. So, I think it's gonna be very helpful. And if you have a busy day and you wanna help out, all you have to do is come drink a beer. And how easy is
Sweet.
that?
Sounds easy enough. And that's great, and that helps us out a lot, being that we're busy people ourselves, and just being able to come and buy a beer helps out. So we thank you guys very much. Don't want to take up any more of your time, but we very much appreciate you guys coming out. Just having you guys sitting across the table from us is just an honor, just to be able to say, hey, talking to you guys that do the grind day in and day out so that we can drink the beer is an honor for us. So I know Mitch and I appreciate it.
Well, we also really appreciate you guys coming out and helping us like spread the word about what we're doing here. And,
Definitely.
I mean, every little piece of media that we get about this beer is going to help the beer move faster, and it's
For
going to help
sure.
raise money faster. And again, that's the point. So like, thank you guys
Yeah, thanks
for
a
taking the
ton.
time. I know
For
you
sure.
came up from Murfreesboro.
all press is good press, right?
I know you were telling me you were like in meetings all day today.
Yeah.
You know, and then you guys hauled all your equipment up here, and it took you like an hour to set up your equipment before you even had a beer here.
Yeah.
So like like legit, like Jimmy, this is like really cool. Like, thank you guys so much for doing this.
absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Clayton, Chad, Parker, you guys are the man. Thank you so much for having us out tonight. And we're gonna hang out for a little while and probably have a couple more beers and spend some money.
I
for
think
sure.
I'm gonna have
So
a couple more beers
Let's
too.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you
I think I
guys.
got one more in me after
There-
this.
one more.
I
Support-
might have 2, but I do have to brew tomorrow.
Support the cause, spend money, go visit your local brewery. We thank you guys so much, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Cheers.
All right, cheers, guys.
Later.